Merging science with mind, body, soul medicine. Thanks for joining me today. I'm Dr. Sarah. Today, I want to talk about honoring the spirituality of the season with ancient healing traditions and plant medicine. And specifically, I'm going to highlight a little bit about essential oils. Now, if you are watching this in real time, we are in the holiday season, and I have previously explored how these plant secondary metabolites, aka essential oils, have the ability to intervene and dial down the stress response at the level of the mind, which is very appropriate right now because the world continues to spin at a very fast pace and people are hustling and bustling, preparing for the upcoming holiday celebrations. In life in general, the world is spinning at a very fast pace. And what's happening is people are trying to manage their everyday hassles, do their best to cope with the global events, and find their time for extra activities of the additional gatherings. So this can create a sense of overwhelm. So I wanted to really focus on lifestyle medicine and different natural modalities to support you through this, as well as to be used throughout any time of year, because we all need stress support and healthy ways to manage it because there's no escaping stress, right? Today, I want to kind of take a step back from all of that, and I want to look at a more ethereal topic, specifically some deeper musings on the science of spirituality. So the topics of this video are going to be the important connection between the mind, the body, the soul, and how that links to medicine and healing, why spirituality and healing cannot be separated to achieve optimal results, why we must honor the whole person in healthcare and accomplish this true holistic wellness, which is the merging of the ancient wisdom with modern medicine. And then the cool part will be how these sacred plants and essential oils can help form the roots to this merger of mainstream and integrative medicine. What I'm going to do in an upcoming post or video is going to review 3 specific essential oils. They have both biblical and spiritual roots and also science-based applications. So this will really exemplify for you the unification of the mind, body, and soul with modern medicine and how those languages can kind of be more congruent. I am hoping that by stimulating your brain and your olfactory cells to smell the essential oils with these concepts, as well as these aromas, will gift you with an emotional boost of good cheer. And then you can also spread this good cheer by deciding to diffuse it. And it will spread harmony, happiness, and calm to whatever brains of your guests come in contact with the smell. So that'll be a good gift for all. So let's get started. First of all, I want to look at the wisdom, the science, and the art of medicine. So for a very long time, far too long, modern medicine really focused specifically and solely on systematic and evidence-based perspectives. The connection between the mind and the body and the soul was largely ignored. And it's become evident now that this is not a good idea, right? It isn't nurturing the whole person and it has its pitfalls. Beyond dehumanizing patients, the resulting pitiful health statistics of the United States can kind of speak for themselves. So if we look at the statistics of all the developed countries and we place America in those statistics, what we're going to see is it's the most expensive country for healthcare with the least impressive results. We have the lowest life expectancy. We use the most amount of preventative services. We have the highest rates of chronic diseases, and we suffer from an alarming rise of mental illness. Now, I know that this is true throughout all the world with the current events, especially regarding mental illness with that rise. But America tends to outdo in the not so good ways these other developed countries. So if we objectively just look at the results that we're getting from this mechanistic biochemical way of approaching the body, we'll see that it isn't getting the results that we want for health and for overall wellness. And it's because it is ignoring the intricacies of the delicate web-like connections between the human mind, body, and soul. And we aren't accounting for, in modern medicine, the humility to acknowledge that even with the most advanced trials and technology at this point, we still do not fully understand or have the capacity to discover all the complexity of what truly makes us well and whole beyond these chemical compositions, right? We're more than just chemicals. And thankfully, there's been a popularization and awareness of this mind-body connection, and specifically how stress and emotions impact the physical body. So this mind-body link is becoming more integrated into healthcare and medicine, which is a good start. The problem is that it still isn't fully integrated, and the talk about spirituality and religion often is not heard in conventional medicine rooms. And this separation between medicine and the soul, I think, is just as suboptimal as separating the connection between our emotions and our deepest desires and our body. So various studies have reported that there are many physical and mental health benefits when someone has a religious practice or practices spirituality, or when I say spirituality, I mean a higher sense of purpose or a connection to something bigger. And the vast majority of Americans actually identify themselves as spiritual or religious. So if we ignore this as healers or as physicians, we are actually denying what makes somebody fully whole, and we aren't honoring a true therapeutic relationship with our patients or our clients. We need to know what actually drives someone, what makes them tick, what makes them feel passionate, what is their purpose, in order to truly motivate change and inspire healing. So all that being said, if we look at where we are, the results that we got from the methods that we've been using, which is basically biochemical manipulation and symptom suppression, we'll see that we're not where we want to be. So this leaves us with a very essential question. How can we merge the best of this modern medicine and integrate all these other concepts that are less, they're less real, right? Or they're less easy to define, right? So not that they're less real in general, but they're less easier to see with a scientific eye, let's say. So one of the biggest questions or the most puzzling conundrums of this whole situation is that the language and the proof of efficacy that people accept on both sides of the equation, whether it be traditional medicine or conventional medicine, they're almost appear as polar opposites. So on one side, there's going to be this war on disease. On the other side, there's going to be promoting wellness. On one side, there's going to be symptom suppression. On another side, there's going to be wanting to address the root cause of the illness and get to the underlying mechanisms. On one side, there's going to be evidence-based medicine terminology and carefully controlled clinical trials so that we can isolate specifically what is working. And another side of the coin, we're going to get traditional healing words that are being spoken with case studies and real world experiences with everybody living their lives within all of the mess and the uncontrollables and still getting the results. So what this means is that there's a lot to work through. But one cool thing that is going on is studying how various ancient healing modalities mechanistically work. So in other words, what we're doing is translating these traditional healing practices or modalities into modern medicine terminology. I'd like to see it more of the other way as well, but it's a great start. We see the shortcomings of what happens when someone is, quote, too alternative or someone is too modern mainstream. It can cause a decline in patient satisfaction, outcomes, and care, right? One side, we're ignoring the whole person. The other side, we may be, based on belief or philosophy, not fully integrating all of the different resources that we have available to help keep us well. So Plants and essential oils can help the scientific exploration and merger of these spiritual traditions and psychology with medicine. And actually, in many countries, not so much in the United States, but they're being used alongside pharmaceuticals, and they're actually being used first because they're least invasive. So it'd be great if we could do this everywhere, right? Embrace kind of this meshing of the mind, body, and ancient wisdom. If we look at sacred trees and we look at plant medicine, they have been honored in religion and spiritual traditions throughout history. So even since biblical times, essential oils and plants have been touted to heal the body, mind, and soul. So if we look at ancient literature, everything is kind of already connected. It's only modern days that we've separated everything. And the spiritual and physical connections that humans have with nature have been recorded in ancient books and religious scripture. If we think about this time of year, many are aware of that famous trio of essential oils that were brought to the Christ child. Many people think gold might have been balsam fir or another essential oil. One article actually that I read painstakingly summarized how different aromatics and various other biblical essential oils were used to enhance spiritual practices and healing related to these theological verses. So this mystical practice of anointing the sick with herbs and applying plant medicine really does have science. And if we look at the modern science of the mechanisms of these plant medicines as well as essential oils, that's going to provide on the biochemical level the proof in modern medical terminology for maybe a mainstream physician or researcher to understand. This is one way we can start to merge nature, spirituality, mind-body medicine with modern medicine. And just because it was said in a different way, maybe in these ancient texts, doesn't make it any less powerful or potent. And I think that it's really important to be aware of this. So I'm going to go through 3 specific spiritual oils again in an upcoming video and article. But for now, because we've already kind of grasped a lot of concepts and I want to keep this digestible for you all, we're going to stop there. I did highlight a Christmas essential oil blend, which can help exemplify this mind-body merger of better uplifting emotions and this feeling of upliftment of the spirit. And it's a combination of cinnamon, orange, and black spruce. So that is a great way to calm the soul, uplift emotions, and defend us against any unwelcome buggy critters that we don't want lurking around as we diffuse this in the air. So I hope that this was helpful for you. And I think the time has come for the scientific model of just being a gold standard proof of evidence-based randomized controlled trials that needs to be honored, but it also needs to incorporate other things. We need to look at what really works in the real world, what our patients are saying, what the experience of the ancient healing traditions bring to the table, and what were the results actually when we make it go from this controlled setting of the isolated compounds into this complexity of the human being in their own environment. So if we can ignite and unite doctors and healers to honor this learned relationship between each other when whatever kind of healing modality or medicine they practice, and honoring the patient's beliefs, acknowledging their emotions, their psychological temperament, their religious, their spiritual practice, their purpose, what's important to them, and really getting an inside look and awareness of what drives someone, we're going to be on a better track to wellness. And we can start with kind of translating these ancient plant medicines and essential oils into medical terminology that's more recognized today and accepted. And then maybe we can start to get some more acceptance in how we can translate some of this modern ancient medicine into the healing modalities as well of ancient times, and get this beautiful merger where everybody is benefit. And it might sound like peace on earth or peace on medicine, but it is a good desire, hope, and wish I think that many of us share in integrative medicine, and many on the mainstream too, who want to learn more but maybe don't have the resources. So we're getting more, we're getting closer, and I want to wish you all a very wonderful, blessed holiday season, whatever you celebrate, even if maybe this time of year is hard for you. I hope you can take time to be with yourself, to reach out, or maybe find your own inner rejuvenation. I have resources and tools on my website. I have courses that I offer specifically for clinicians as well as consumers on essential oils and making this medical terminology more understandable for consumers, but also translating it into modern day medical terms for the more clinical oriented thought provoking people that want to learn more. And I also have free resources, and the article in the video description will have the different references as well as resources for people who might be struggling this time of year. There's specifically a toolkit for mental health and also for coping in times of isolation, if this is a particularly hard time of year for you, or in general, if you're watching this whenever. So thank you for taking the time and for your interest in this topic of merging science with medicine, and whether it be ancient medicine or conventional medicine, and how plants and essential oils can kind of merge the gap in between spirituality, mind, body, healing, and medical terminology of today. I appreciate your time. And again, take good care.